Are you struggling to win at poker? It's because you are ignoring 6 simple strategies that separate the winners from losers at the table. I use them continuously and have been profitable every year of my poker career. So in this video, I'm going to tell you each strategy and explain how to apply them so you can win more money. The first strategy is one of the most important ones. You need to increase your opening range at the table. If you are not familiar with what a range is, it refers to the set of all possible hands a player might have in a given situation. It is one of the most important building blocks of poker. Even though it is, people struggle to know the correct hands to open when it folds to them. For example, let's talk about opening ranges from the button at the table. If it folds around to you, do you know the hands you are going to RFI, aka raise first in? This is one of the best spots to be in because you only have to play against small blind and a big blind. We can still the blinds by raising wider than usual, and also if they call, we will be in position. You should be opening all suited aces here. Yes, this means all the way down to ace-2 suited. Some may get this right, but then what happens to the suited kings region? We should be opening all of them as well. This goes the same for the suited queens. All of these hands have great playability against our opponents, especially when we have an opportunity to flush over flush them. While we have the queen, king, and ace high flushes, our opponent who defend the blinds will often have lower ones such as 7-6 suited, 4-3 suited, etc. This is just one of the made hands we have the advantage over them with. While playing poker, we must learn the proper ranges and understand the why behind playing certain hands. If this is tough for you, don't worry, because something that is easy is scanning this QR code to join my free poker newsletter. You will learn the whys of poker instead of trying to memorize everything. Also, you can click my pinned comment on this video to join. The second strategy is so simple, and yet people at every table in the world do not do this. You need to stop calling weak hands in the small blind. Let's say we are playing a 2-5 game and the opponent in cutoff opens to $15. Button folds and we look down at our hand and see 8-6 suited. Some people believe they have the odds to call here and see a flop, but there are many reasons to not. First, we are not priced in to see a flop with all suited hands in the small blind. It is called a blind bet and not a committed to see a flop bet. Second, we have to play out of position to the rest of the table, which is the worst spot to be in poker. Hands in the small blind look pretty, but trust me, if you fold 8-6 suited, 4-3 suited, queen-6 suited, and many more, you will lose less money while playing. Let's get to the third strategy you need to utilize to stop losing money at the tables. You need to play correctly with top pair. When we are playing an opponent and have top pair, top kicker, let's say ace king on an ace high board that is dry, we want to keep putting money in the pot if they are just calling our bets. However, when we start to face a lot of aggression on later streets such as the turn or the river with raises against our bets, it may be time to reevaluate the situation. Poker players in your games do not raise turns and rivers enough as a bluff. Simply put, if our opponent is passive, can be comfortable with top pair, and if they are aggressive, with a lot of draws completed by the river, it is time to find a fold. Keep in mind the strength of our top pair good kicker hand decreases when the number of players to the flop increases. In a heads up pot, it performs much better. If we are playing multi-way with 3 to 5 other people, and I know this happens in majority of the games you are playing, then top pair becomes very vulnerable. Trust me, if a lot of money is going into the middle, must have the discipline to understand it is just not going to get the job done. This applies a lot for single raise pots due to ranges being so wide overall. In 3-bet pots, top pair is more valuable, but we still must be careful depending on the positions and action pre-flop. If you do find yourself overplaying top pair and not finding phones at poker, you should scan this QR code to join my free poker newsletter. Many other players have improved their poker game from the free knowledge that I provide. You can also join by clicking the link in the pinned comment. The next strategy is a tragedy when I see it at the tables because it is so simple to eliminate from your game. Please stop limping. If we are in early, middle, or even late position on the button in a 1-3 game, we should not put in $3 and hope we see a cheap flop. This is a tactic that will cause you to lose large amounts of money in the long run. If it folds to you, you should be finding a raise. Also, if you see people limping before you, raise it up to apply pressure to them. Sometimes when you raise big enough, you will be able to take down all of the dead money in the pot because people will not have a strong enough hand to continue. If our opponents do call, fewer people will be headed to the flop, which is good for any hand we have. It is much easier to beat one or two opponents with a strong hole in than it is to beat four. Make sure you turn up the aggression and do not keep calling to see cheap flops. Next, we have a strategy that causes significant problems for poker players because they don't do it nearly enough. You need to 3-bet more. This tends to be one of the weakest points I see when I start coaching people. You cannot get away with just 3-betting aces, kings, and sometimes queens because people will quickly realize you always have it. Keep in mind, overall, people view 3-bets as being super strong. If this is the case, shouldn't we find more 3-bets since people fold so much to them? Also, let's say we have a loose player at the table who is raising almost every hand. We can take advantage by 3-betting this opponent more because they will not have enough hands in their range to defend. When they do defend and we 3-bet a hand such as ace queen and ace jack, is a beautiful spot to be in. Why is that? It is because they are going to have a lot of weaker ace-x hands. So when the ace does come on the flop, we will have them crushed. If they do decide to call a very bad hand, and trust me, I have seen it happen, majority of the times we can c-bet, aka continuation bet, because they will miss the board a lot. Another perfect opportunity is when we see a lot of people call after someone raises. Let's say we are at a 1-3 table an opponent in low jack opens $12 and villains call in hijack and cutoff. We are sitting on the button with ace queen offsuit. This is the perfect time to put in a 3-bet squeeze because your opponents will not want to play out of position. There are many times we would take down all the money pre-flop, and if you did the math, we would have won about $40 with this simple play. The last advantage of 3-betting is we can isolate the recreational or fish at the table. These are the opponents that are going to fill our pockets with the most money and pay for our dinner after our session. The more we are able to play heads up against the players who lose the most money, we will increase our chances of having winning session. Also, when we 3-bet the fish who raised, it will fold out regulars or other professionals seated to your left. People tend to not find 4-bets with weak hands, so if they do this, you can find a lot of folds very easily. Poker is all about calculated and well-timed aggression, and 3-betting more accomplishes this. If turning up the aggression at the poker tables is difficult, scan this QR code to join my free poker newsletter. You will receive tips to help train you to not be so afraid of doing this. You can also click the pinned comment to join. Now we get dealt the two best mathematical starting hands in poker, pocket kings and aces. Our goal is we must maximize winnings with premium holdings. For this, let's use an example where we are in the best position in poker, the button. Villain in hijack position raises and we 3-bet with aces or kings. They put in a call and we are heads up. To simplify, let's say we have $60 in the middle and $270 behind at a 1-3 game. We will also not worry about bet sizes. The board is going to run out queen 7-4 with 2 spades. The turn comes a deuce and the river comes an 8. What are your thoughts here with kings and aces? We are going to have the best hand on the flop majority of the time, right? So we can confidently always put in a continuation bet here. Checking back trying to slow play is not necessary and is going to make playing for your opponent's entire stack much more difficult. After betting, we go to the turn and it is a complete blank. They check and our first instinct should be to double barrel. We want to set up the pot preparing for a jam on most rivers. We bet again and after they call, the river comes in 8. At this point, where does your thought process go? Some may think you cannot be serious. Now they can have a straight with a 6 and a 5. However, this is not where your thought process should go. You should mainly still be focused on betting again because there are still many worse hands you can get called by, such as ace queen, king queen, queen jack, queen 10, even pocket pairs such as pocket jacks, 10s, and 9s that are not willing to fold because they believe you are bluffing. They also believe second pair could be the winner this time. After they check, it is now time to maximize our winnings and go all in on the river, even if we started with a slightly bigger stack on the flop. Yes, it may almost be a pot size or even slightly over pot size bet, but people are not folding a queen here. Trying to be cute and bet half pot or a small bet is not going to maximize our winnings long term here. You must learn and be willing to play for it all when you have pocket aces and kings. Maximizing with aces or kings is important, and you should watch this next video to change the way you think about poker forever so you can win more money.